Swapsies and shinies, 60 years of Panini football stickers. There are sticker collections gathering dust in lofts across the country, neglected for decades and destined for the charity shop or car boot sale. But it might be worth digging out those stickers, as they could be worth a small fortune. British football fans have been collecting Panini stickers since the company launched its first album in the UK for the 1970 World Cup. The original stickers cost a pocket money price of 5p for a pack of 4 in 1978, but earlier this year a Diego Maradona sticker was auctioned for $555,960, the most ever paid for a football sticker. It was a rookie sticker, as it marked Maradona's first appearance in a Panini album, the Panini Calciatori 1979-80 album, in which Maradona appeared in a World Stars feature. The US is the primary market for such high valuations. There is a long tradition of collecting sports stars' images in the US, going back to the 19th century, when baseball cards were first produced. Nowadays there are serious investors, both individual and corporate, who specialize in football stickers. This is a long way from the origins of the Panini brand. The Panini brothers, Benito and Giuseppe, launched the concept 6 decades ago in their hometown of Modena during the 1961-62 season. The albums were an instant hit in Italy, and other European countries were not far behind in adopting the stickers. The UK soon caught on to the craze. The phenomenon was so popular that it even had its own language: Swapsies, got, need and shinies. British fans knew Panini from the Mexico 1970 album, but the breakthrough arrived in 1977 with the launch of the Euro football album. It was revolutionary as it focused on the European Cup, UEFA Cup and Cup Winners' Cup at a time when English clubs were on the cusp of dominating the continent, providing 7 of the next 8 European champions and a smattering of winners of the 2 other competitions. Greg Lansdowne, author of Panini Football Stickers, explains, "I have spoken to a few people who have collected that album, and they said it was like a window to Europe, with all these exotic names like Borussia Mönchengladbach, plus all the top players, and even some of the lesser lights, such as Dundalk." This was when media coverage of European football was minimal, focusing almost exclusively on the British clubs, unlike today's blanket coverage. Panini also secured a logistical triumph when they introduced self-adhesives, which made the process of placing those precious stickers in the album so much easier. No longer did messy dollops of glue threaten to unhinge and spoil the pages. And the final masterstroke was tying up a distribution deal with the UK's top-selling football weekly magazine of the time. Shoot had a circulation of hundreds of thousands, so the album, along with a packet of stickers thrown in for good measure, reached its target market. By following this breakthrough with the launch of the first domestic album for English and Scottish clubs in 1978, there was no looking back. At their height in the late 1980s, they all hovered around 100 million sticker packets every year, says Lansdowne. There was little competition as no rivals could compete with the quality and the distribution, added to which Panini held the license for the British leagues. However, there was a problem looming which would derail Panini's grip on the market in the shape of Robert Maxwell. Not content with sticking his oar in at Oxford United and threatening to engineer a merger with Reading to create the frightful Thames Valley Royals in 1983, Maxwell cast envious eyes over the booming Panini empire. He had tried to run his own sticker business through the Daily Mirror, but it was of vastly inferior quality, so Maxwell bought Panini in 1988 for just under £100 million. Maxwell used the company's healthy revenues to shore up other failing parts of his business, which led to underinvestment in the brand, and Panini's reputation spiraled downhill. After Maxwell died in 1991, DeGustini Publishing took over Panini, but when the Premier League was launched in 1992, no album was produced. A glaring opportunity was missed, and the license for the Premier League was picked up by Merlin, a company formed by 4 disgruntled erstwhile Panini employees who teamed up with David Dine, vice chairman of Arsenal. As one of the key movers behind the formation of the Premier League, Dine helped facilitate Merlin getting the all-important license in 1994. Merlin thrived in the early years of the Premier League, selling around 75 million packets per year, but Panini slowly bounced back with their World Cup and European Championship albums. Their album for the 2014 World Cup became their biggest ever, with total sales in the region of £50 million in the UK alone, and they secured the Premier League license for the first time in the 2019-20 season. While children are collecting Panini stickers of current players, investors with bigger wallets are more interested in stickers of players from past generations. Players who played in the 1970s and 1980s still get sent a lot of old Panini stickers to sign even now, Lansdowne says. David Fairclough, for example, is on the front cover of the Football 79 album, which at the time he didn't even know anything about. So now not only does he get sent his stickers to sign, but also the front cover of Football 79. Pat Nevin also fronted a Panini album, but he did not enjoy the process, finding pre-season photo shoots particularly irritating, as can be judged by the barely disguised contempt on his face in the majority of his stickers. I have always hated any type of self-promotion, and especially the photos sessions, which just were so boring as they dragged on and on, Nevin says. There were dozens of snappers lining up to take our picture, and I made it pretty clear that I didn't want to be there and would rather be training. Nevin, whose autobiography is aptly titled The Accidental Footballer, has always kicked against what is expected of a footballer, and he was no different when it came to Panini. On his 1987 Team Tactics card, he was described as a right winger with left-wing views. Nevin was certainly not a collector. I don't know any players who collected them, he says. The only time we saw them was when fans brought them to be signed. We did not receive any royalty or fee. Any money would have gone to the club, but we knew nothing about it. Nowadays the agents would be all over that, and I'm sure the players get a healthy percentage. Lansdowne says some players did receive remuneration for their Panini pictures, but it depended on the clubs. David Fairclough of Liverpool told me that they did actually get a check specifically for the Panini photo shoot. Not many clubs did that, but Panini had a deal with the PFA, along with the Football League, and then it was down to the clubs to divide it out, so the clubs should have passed on that money for the Panini stickers. Like Fairclough, Nevin might be blissfully unaware that he was the cover star of the 1990 album, pictured battling with John Barnes in the 1989 FA Cup final. That album will not fetch anything approaching the phenomenal sum the Maradona rookie sticker did, but if you find that album or any other old stickers lurking in your loft, they might be worth more than you might think. This article appeared first on the Football Mind. Follow Richard Foster on Twitter. Richard's book Premier League Nuggets is out now.